The morning light broke over London, but this wasn't just any sunrise. From the quiet corridors of Kensington Palace to the thunderous cheers outside Westminster Abbey, a family was preparing to step into history. William in his decorated uniform, Catherine radiant in her elegance, and 3 young children who, without fully knowing it, were about to capture the hearts of millions. But what truly happened on that unforgettable walk into the Abbey? And why did the world pause, holding its breath, as his family of 5 appeared? If you love exploring the human side of the royals, their quiet glances, their heartfelt moments, their little family secrets, then you're in the right place. Be sure to like this video, subscribe for more emotional royal stories, and share it with someone who would enjoy stepping into this once-in-a-lifetime moment. The sun rose gently over the skyline of London, casting a soft golden glow on the ancient stones of Kensington Palace. Inside, a hushed anticipation filled the air. This wasn't just another morning. It was the beginning of a day that would live in memory, photographed, filmed, and retold across generations. In one quiet room, Prince William stood in front of a tall mirror, fastening the gleaming buttons of his ceremonial uniform. Each medal on his chest wasn't just metal. It was a story of service, sacrifice, and a promise made to country and crown. His reflection showed a man balancing 2 worlds, the soldier and the father, the heir to history, and the husband trying to make his family proud. Down the corridor, Catherine was preparing in her own way. She slipped into a navy blue coat dress, simple, elegant, and dignified. Her sapphire earrings caught the morning light, a subtle nod to royal tradition and her late mother-in-law. With every brush of her hair, she wasn't just styling herself. She was sending a message, calm, grace, and quiet strength. The palace itself seemed alive. Staff moved with precision, shoes polished until they mirrored the chandeliers, uniforms laid out, last-minute adjustments made. There was no room for error. Everything had to be flawless. But amid this whirlwind of activity, one could still feel the heartbeat of something deeply human, a family preparing for an extraordinary day. And in the children's rooms? Well, that was where the palace's polished silence gave way to laughter and noise. In the nursery wing, the air was anything but quiet. Giggles, little footsteps, and the occasional frustrated sigh from a child learning to tie his own tie made the scene feel wonderfully alive. 9-year-old Prince George stood in front of his mirror, tugging at a navy blue tie that seemed determined to rebel against him. He wanted to do it himself. After all, wasn't he the eldest? His small brow furrowed in concentration until a gentle hand from his nanny guided him through the final knot. George straightened his shoulders, looking every inch his father's son in a miniature navy suit. For a fleeting moment, one could imagine the future king he would someday become. Across the hall, Princess Charlotte twirled in her cream-colored dress, the golden threads of embroidered flowers catching the light as if they were spun from sunlight itself. At 6 years old, she was still full of wonder, her curls bouncing as she spun, ribbon perfectly tied. "Mummy, I look like a princess," she declared with sparkling eyes. And indeed, she did, not because of the dress, but because of the pure joy she carried within it. And then, of course, there was little Prince Louis. Only 4 years old, he was a whirlwind of the morning. His nanny tried, valiantly, to tame his hair, but he wriggled away, curious about every sound, every movement, every glimpse of what was happening outside. "Are we going to see all the people?" he asked, his voice full of eagerness. His nanny smiled. "Yes, Louis, many people will be there to see you." His eyes widened, as if she'd told him the whole world had lined up just for him. It was in this chaos of innocence and laughter that Catherine entered. She glided into the children's rooms, her presence immediately settling the storm. The children rushed to her, hugging her tightly. Charlotte looked up with pride and whispered, "Mummy, you look like a princess." Catherine's soft laugh filled the room. "Thank you, sweetheart. And you all look wonderful, too." William soon joined them, medals gleaming, posture strong. For a moment, the 5 of them stood together, a picture so striking it could have been lifted from the pages of a storybook. Father, mother, and 3 children who carried not only titles, but the weight and wonder of history. And as William asked gently, "Are we ready?" the children's excited nod showed they understood. Maybe not the scale of the world outside, but that this day was different, and it belonged to them. The moment had come. A soft knock at the door, and a palace aide's voice broke the spell of family warmth. "Your Royal Highnesses, it's time." William reached for Catherine's hand. Charlotte clung to her mother's other hand, while George walked proudly beside his father, imitating the steady stride he had watched so many times before. Little Louis, unable to contain his energy, bounced along, eyes wide as saucers, drinking in every detail. Their footsteps echoed as they walked through the long corridors of Kensington Palace, lined with portraits of monarchs who had come before them. Kings and queens in gilded frames seemed to watch silently as this young family created their own chapter in history. Wasn't it remarkable? These children, still so small, were already part of a story centuries in the making. The palace itself mirrored their significance. Guards in perfect formation stood straighter than ever, their uniforms crisp, their expressions unflinching. Outside, the polished cars gleamed, reflecting the sharp London morning light. Even the gardens, trimmed to perfection, seemed to hold their breath. As the great doors swung open, a rush of cool air swept in. Beyond the glass, the official car stood ready, its driver waiting with quiet dignity. Catherine's pearl earrings shimmered, William's medals glinted. For a moment, they paused together at the threshold, gazing out at what awaited them. William turned to his family, his voice steady but warm. "Let's go and meet the people." And just like that, the family of five stepped forward, crossing the invisible line between the private world of their palace and the watchful eyes of history. As the family settled into the official car, the atmosphere shifted from hushed anticipation to something electric. The children pressed their faces to the windows, eyes wide as they watched London wake up for them. Streets lined with waving flags blurred past. The air carried the sound of cheering crowds, chants, and camera shutters clicking like a symphony. George tried his best to remain composed, perhaps already sensing the responsibility that came with his place in the line of succession. Beside him, Charlotte waved eagerly, her small hand moving with practiced grace but genuine joy. And Louis? He pointed, laughed, and asked questions at every turn, as if the entire city was a playground built just for him. Inside the car, William and Catherine shared a glance, quiet, knowing, and almost wordless. They had stepped into public life countless times before, but this felt different. This was their family, their children, stepping with them into the gaze of millions. And as the convoy rolled on, London itself seemed transformed. Historic streets, draped in color, became the stage for a moment that was as personal as it was national. The journey was only beginning, but already history was being written in real time. Sparkle's Chapter 1 outro. The palace doors had closed behind them, and ahead lay Westminster Abbey, majestic, timeless, and waiting. Yet, as the cameras flashed and the crowds roared, the most powerful images weren't of medals, uniforms, or centuries-old tradition. They were of a father holding his son's hand, a mother guiding her daughter, a family of five walking together into history. Because in the end, this wasn't just a story of the future king and queen. It was a story of William and Catherine as parents, teaching their children how to carry the weight of expectation with grace, curiosity, and laughter. And as London's heart beat faster with anticipation, one question lingered. What unforgettable moment awaited them at the steps of Westminster Abbey?